everybody, welcome to the Summit Avenue pipe organ. Before we get into some of the things that aren't working right now that we're going to get some help with, for those of you who don't know how a pipe organ works, I'm going to give you a very short introduction to what we have here. So basically, as you look around here, you'll see I have 3 keyboards and I have a bunch of buttons up here. So each of these buttons represents one sound. And each keyboard has its own collection of sounds. So I think of the organ like an orchestra. So sometimes I just have a couple of people playing. Sometimes I have a little accompaniment and a solo. Sometimes we build the whole orchestra up until everybody's playing, and then it's full orchestra. So the way I make that happen is, and I'll just hold a C chord for you, and I'll just slowly add one voice at a time, so you'll hear how the organ goes from nothing to everything. So that's the whole shooting match at the end. So basically all of the organ works. What we're having trouble with right now, and I'll try to make this as easy an explanation as possible. When I'm playing the organ, part of the idea is for me to be able to switch sounds quickly depending on what I'm playing. So a lot of times for hymns, I'll just slowly add things as the verses increase and build up to the last verse. And right now I'm doing that by playing with one hand and pushing buttons with the other. That really restricts my ability to do that. If you notice these buttons in between the keyboards here, what these are here for allow me to preset combinations. Say I want these to play for something, I would push a button and set it on this button, and then when I push that button, it would literally move those stops and give me that preset combination that I have. Well, about 5 years ago, this part just stopped working. It just died. So I have not been able to use any of these since then. Basically, if you think about the days when, before remote control, when you had to get up out of the chair and go change the channel on your TV, how annoying that was. Well, that's the organist version of that. It's like, I've got to do all this. So the sounds work, but I just have to work a lot harder at getting them to do what I want them to do. And I can't be as creative because I always have to have one hand free to do that. So that makes life a lot more difficult. So with the proposal that we're looking at, the new guts of this console that we'll be getting, it will restore the full functionality of all of that. So I'll be able to manage this instrument a lot easier than I'm able to now. But I'll tell you what's even more important than that right now is that because of the age of the technology inside this console, notes are beginning to just stop playing. There are very fine contacts in there that make the notes play, that send the signal from the key back to the pipes up there. And one by one, they're starting to fail. So for example, if I come up the scale here, and I hit that note, it's gone. It's gone forever. The thing that makes that note play, the little piece of metal, got very brittle and broke off. And there's no way to reattach it, there's no way to fix it. We've got about 3 of those happening right now, and then there are others that play intermittently. So what that means is sooner or later, this entire console is going to fail. So our donor has offered to replace all of the guts of this console to bring everything back to fully operable condition and then some. So I hope that helps you understand what I'm doing here at the console. And we're going to climb upstairs so you can see what I'm actually controlling from this little desk here. So welcome to the actual organ. We are inside the organ chamber. As you can see, we've got a bunch of pipes up here. Organ pipes are basically whistles, so they're sitting on boxes of compressed air, and when I play a key at the console, it opens a little valve underneath the pipe that lets the air escape and play the note. The short pipes are the higher notes. The longer pipes are the lower notes. And those buttons I showed you that control each sound, one of those buttons represents one set of pipes. So these pipes going along here right in front of my face all the way down, that's one sound, one set of pipes there. There's 61 of them here. So This part of the organ is the first third of the instrument. And if you look around that way, back out into the sanctuary, you'll see that there are all of these shutters in front of the opening there. So this set of pipes plays from the top keyboard, the third keyboard, and I have a pedal that lets me open and close those louvers. That's how I control the volume of the pipes that are in this room. Because the pipes just do one thing, they're one-trick ponies. They play one note their whole lives. That's all they ever do at the same volume. So the only way I have to control the volume is add or subtract sounds or open and close those louvers. And so the pipes in this room are enclosed completely to allow me to control the volume with those shades. So these are the louvers that I mentioned that allow me to control the volume. So they open and close like this. When I push the pedal in, they all close just like the Venetian blinds on your window. They work exactly the same way.
Okay.
Welcome to the rest of the organ. So it looks very much the same as what we saw previously, except there are more sets of pipes. This is the second, we're right behind the cross. The cross is right there. So when you're looking up at the cross, sneaky hiding behind are all of these pipes that are behind the screen that you normally can't see. So the pipes in this room are the pipes that belong to the middle keyboard and the bottom keyboard. And I can control them separately depending on which keyboard I'm playing, or as I mentioned earlier, I can combine them all together. So when I'm playing one set of pipes, it's very soft, and as I showed you at the console, little by little, as I push one of those, I'm adding more sets of pipes until I can get them all playing at once, which is that big sound that we love for postlude so much. What makes the connection between the console and the pipes is this mess of wiring that you see hanging on the wall here. This is called the relay. So the signal from the console comes up and will activate one of the signals or one of the circuits up here, and you probably can't see it from that side, but they're all labeled on this side with the names of the stops that they control. So I can see all of the names up here that match the buttons that I have down there. So this is all the wiring that makes the organ work. And I may have mentioned the organ pipes are basically indestructible. They'll last forever as long as they're not damaged in some way. But all the stuff that makes them go is the stuff that has all the moving parts and the wiring and the electronics. These pipes are essentially whistles, and they're sitting on boxes of compressed air. So when I turn the organ on, the blower will start to compress the air and send it to all of these boxes down here underneath all of the sets of pipes. Each set of pipes has its own distinct box that's sealed completely and is filled with compressed air. And when I push a stop and play a key, a magnet opens a valve underneath that note and lets the air come through that pipe. So essentially they're whistles. And again, as I mentioned, the short ones are the high sounds, the tall ones are the low sounds. I'm sure you've noticed that the organ can produce some pretty low sounds, which means we need some pretty big pipes to pull that off. So you can see the ones behind me continue on all the way up there, and they're too tall for the room, so they've been curved out. That's called mitering. So the pipe has the full length that it needs, even though it doesn't fit in this room. So those very tall pipes are the ones that make the lowest notes on the organ. So I hope that gives you an idea of how the organ works, what's going on up there, what's going on down here, and help you appreciate this wonderful instrument that much more. We are indeed fortunate here at Summit to have a real pipe organ. Organists vastly prefer the real thing to an electronic instrument that tries to approximate the sound of a real pipe organ, and the real thing is always better. So we are grateful to our donor and to all of you who are considering donating to the fund that will help us update this console to keep the organ functioning for years to come so that future generations will be able to sing along with this organ just like we do now.